Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is Shades Tube and welcome to Shades Tube, guys. Today is today is what? Today is Wednesday, February the 15th, 2023. I'm gonna wait till some people come in before I start. How was your guys' day today? Mine was pretty good. I just got in not too long ago. Of course, I had to um, do some straightening up and get situated before I came in here to do this live. And we won't be on this live no longer than an hour and a half tonight, okay? Um, y'all, I made a blooper last night when I was telling you guys about the Donner family. I thought I was sharing some videos, but I had another page pulled up and did not realize you guys couldn't see it. So tonight, I'm going to show you guys that video as well as go over a little Black history and some news articles. All right. But before, I'm trying to wait to see if anybody will come in. People probably sleep because here on the East Coast is still early. On the West Coast is still early, and on the East Coast is kind of late. So let's just see if people are going to come in. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and do this live, and people can watch it in the replay. So let's see. It's kind of late. I'm about to start doing these lives a little bit earlier, for sure, because I think I do them a little bit too late. Not for the West Coast, but for like the East Coast and maybe the Central Coast. A lot of people be getting in bed, So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to start doing this a little bit earlier. But anyway, y'all, last night I was telling you guys about the Donner family, and I was telling you about this family who in 1876 they wanted to relocate to California, to have a better life and to just prosper more. And on the way there, they ended up splitting up. One team went a different way than the other. The team that went the different way went that way because they thought it would be easier. Well, they thought the route would be quicker, but they soon found out that it wouldn't be because they went through a lot of stuff. Namely, there was a snowstorm that happened in October of 1876. And it was unusual because usually the snowstorms did not happen in October. They happened a little bit later because technically October is still the fall time, okay? And winter comes in November. So that's probably one reason why they thought that it would snow. Well, anyway, when they had that massive snowfall prevented them from moving, going forward or bagging up, going back the other way. They had to be stagnant. And so when they were stagnant, of course, they had to ration out food. I think one of the people there killed a bear or something, and they had that to eat for a while. Then the people who were stationed in that little camp area, a couple of them decided to venture out so they can try to get to California and to bring a rescue team back to rescue the other people. So when they did that, they ended up, taking a little bit longer to get to California. And throughout that entire rescue, that entire attempt to get to California, they encountered a lot of things. Like one of the guys cut his leg or something, and then it ended up getting infected. He caught gangrene. Then he died. And then I think they eventually ran out of food. So when people die for whatever reason, they resorted to cannibalism. And they started, eating the flesh of some of the people that died. All right. And I think like toward the end of everything, a couple people or maybe one person ended up reaching California, to get a rescue team to go back out to look for the other people. And mind you, this was back in 1876. So therefore, they had makeshift snow shoes, like they look like to me like skis. I don't know if that's what they actually looked like back then, but that's the way they did. They had to walk through the snow and stuff. And I watched the movie last night, which was pretty good. but they did lie about some things to make it more, I guess, dramatic or whatever the case is and stuff. But it was a fairly okay movie though. But the real facts come from the video I will show y'all tonight. All right, so we're gonna watch that real quick. And then I'm going to go over the other stuff. I may just do and maybe a little news, and then that would be it. Okay, so let me go ahead and get ready to share this. But before I do, you guys can thumbs up this video if you like. Also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you can subscribe below. And if you're watching this in the replay, please leave a comment. And welcome to all my new subbies, as well as my subbies that's been with me from day one, y'all. And again, I hope you guys had a great Wednesday, and hope you're having a great Wednesday night. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to share this so we can hurry up because I don't have long tonight. Okay, I'm gonna start doing my videos like an hour and a half, so it won't be too long since I come on Monday through Fridays. Okay, hold on for a second, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna get ready to share this the correct way tonight. Let's see. Let me turn that music off. And hey, Adams, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. Adam, the only one that came in so far. Wait, let me turn this off. Okay, how do we do this? We're gonna share because I have to make sure I do this tonight. Present. I did that yesterday, but I know what I did. Share file, right? Share screen. Okay, then I got to pull up the link. New tab. I don't know what the heck I did last night. Then share, and then go over here and click this. And I don't need to be, see what I did yesterday, I clicked another, I pulled up another tab. That's why I wasn't sharing. That's stupid. Okay, when I did this right here, did this mess up anything when I did this?
No, it was mostly on the same page.
Why come it's not moving up? Let's see. I just upgraded to Windows 11 too, but it hasn't taken effect yet because I got to restart the computer. Let me see if I can just go ahead and move on down. Hurry up, go on down. Okay, I'm showing you guys this video that I thought I was showing you guys last night, and I wasn't, like a dodo bird. I'm gonna do this. These videos are gonna be very short too, okay? But I want y'all to know about this because this is something they should have been teaching people in school. As a matter of fact, I will give this to my son so he can know about this. Is this the one or is the other one? Okay, so we're gonna watch this real quick, y'all. And I'm gonna fast forward.
Recordings just got better.
This as well.
Hey, it's Dana from Streamyard. I'm so excited to announce.
Was it hubris? Was it naivete? Was it a plan so wild it just might work? Up until the moment everyone realized it hadn't.
So let me say this again. This family, this is going to tell you exactly what this family did, okay? I didn't want to read the whole entire thing again tonight. So just watch this and then you will know exactly what, about this family, the Donner party, okay? And it's actually two different families and some other people who went on this venture to go to start their lives in Cali, all right, in California back in 1876, okay? And one thing we need to learn, guys, is that YouTube and people doing channels and videos, it's not about foolishness all the time. It's good to be able to actually learn something on YouTube as well, okay? That's another reason why I'm going over these Black inventors tonight, because we need to know as brown people that we are valuable and we definitely played a huge role into what America is today. Okay. A lot of times you see a lot of negativity about brown people, which are Black people. But tonight I'm going to show you some stuff that we have done that the schools didn't teach you and some of these schools right now are not teaching these kids now about what brown people did besides the usual people that you always see. Okay, so after this video and the next one, then I'm gonna do that. All right, so let's go ahead and watch about the Donner Party and we're gonna go from there, okay?
There were many factors that led to the tragic end.
Oh, one more thing, this video, everything in this video is protected by the 1976 Copyright Fair Use Act. Everything that I'm using here is used for entertainment, instructional, to give opinions, comments, research, educational purposes only. That disclaimer will be included somewhere underneath this video, as like always, okay? And this person is The Grudge, and you can subscribe to him right there, okay? Let's go ahead and listen to this now.
By the Donner Party, and they may have been doomed from the start. While the western part of North America had seen permanent European settlements dating back to the earliest days of the fur trade, the early 19th century was the start of the United States' large push to fully settle the western part of the continent. Starting with Thomas Jefferson's Louisiana Purchase and continuing through the century, the American frontier began pushing farther and farther west. By the 1840s, there were a lot of people looking to migrate west, and almost as many reasons for wanting to make the trip. Some of the settlers were in search of land, which was becoming more scarce in the eastern part of the country, while others later sought the get-rich-quick scenario that came with finding gold. Still others, namely a large number of Mormons that made their way west, were searching for a place to freely practice their religion. With so many motives for journeying west, there were also several ways to get there. According to National Geographic, several popular trails served as guides to settlers. Perhaps the most famous of all is the Oregon Trail, which started around the border of Missouri and Kansas before trudging across the Great Plains and snaking through the Rocky Mountains. There was also the Mormon Trail, which started in western Illinois and followed a similar path to the Oregon Trail. This one, however, ended up near what became Salt Lake City, Utah. They were tried and true routes, but even 19th century Americans weren't content to settle. The California Trail Center says that Lansford Hastings was one of the people who made his way west, doing so in 1842 along the Oregon Trail. His story was a little different than most. While many settlers had taken to the western trails to escape difficult lives, having been born the son of a doctor, Hastings had a comparatively comfortable life. After attending law school, Hastings made the trek to Oregon, but by 1843, he had made his way south to California. At the time, California was mostly Mexican territory, and Hastings recognized that there were immense opportunities there. In order to encourage settlers to carve a piece of land out for America, he published a book called The Immigrant's Guide to Oregon and California. In the book, he laid out a shortcut to California that he claimed would shave off nearly 400 miles over easy terrain. Was it too good to be true? Yes.
Could we have looked into the future and seen the misery before us, these lines would never have been written. But we were full of hope.
Legends of America says that Hastings never tested the route. Little did he know that his shortcut would inspire one of the American West's greatest tragedies. The idea for the group that would become infamously known as the Donner Party was started by an Illinois businessman named James Fraser Reed. Reed, like so many before him, wanted to travel west in search of riches, but he was also incentivized by the prospect of a better life for his wife, Margaret. She experienced severe headaches, and Reed thought that perhaps the West Coast climate would help her health. Reed read through a copy of Hastings' The Immigrant's Guide to Oregon and California and was inspired to put together a group for a westward journey. The initial group consisted of 9 wagons and 32 people. 9 of those people were members of the Reed Party, which includes James, Margaret, their 4 children, Margaret's mother, and a pair of hired servants. While the trip was no doubt going to be arduous, James Reed paid to make sure that his family traveled comfortably. They did so in a 2-story wagon that took 8 oxen to pull and featured a stove, cushioned seats, and even bunks. It was so extravagant that Virginia Reed, who was 12 years old at the start of the trek, called it the Pioneer Palace Car. Over time, the group would expand as several other families joined what became known as the Donner Party. According to Legends of America, the group set out from Springfield, Illinois on April 16, 1846, and the first waypoint was the town of Independence, Missouri, the starting point for both the Oregon and California trails. Among the group were 2 brothers in their 60s, Jacob and George Donner, and their families. This trip wasn't the first for the Donners. They were of German descent and had started traveling before this event began, starting in North Carolina and moving progressively farther west each time, with stops in Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois. It's believed that the Donners were also intrigued by Hastings' proposed shortcut to the West Coast, as Jacob Donner kept a copy of his book in his saddlebag. What those in the Donner Party didn't realize was that a strange coincidence with some serious irony to it was taking place across the country. On the same day as they left Springfield, Lansford Hastings was departing California to see his proposed shortcut for himself. Reed and the Donner Party reached Independence, Missouri 3 weeks later. There, they resupplied and started again, eventually joining another wagon train about 100 miles west of Independence. This expanded the group to 87 people. Weeks later, the group would reach Fort Laramie, Wyoming. There, James Reed met a friend from Illinois who had traveled with Hastings eastward. This friend advised Reed not to take Hastings' shortcut, telling him that they would never make it using wagons as the route was barely traversable on foot. He also warned Reed of the dangers posed by the desert and the Sierra Nevada mountains. More wagons joined the group in Fort Laramie, and upon reaching the Continental Divide at the Rocky Mountains, a man with a letter from Hastings met them. The letter said that Hastings himself would meet them in Fort Bridger, Wyoming, to show them where to take his shortcut, which was becoming known as Hastings Cutoff.
We're going to bypass the commercial, like always. So as we can see so far, guys, let me stop this real quick. As we can see so far, we saw that they had everything comfortable, right? They had those wagons with everything that you would possibly need on a trip to make it very comfortable. So you would think if anything happened, they would be okay. They also had a lot of supplies. All right. So let's check out everything else about it and what happened.
They had no way of knowing it at the time, but the decision that would cost many in the Donner Party their lives happened near Wyoming's Little Sandy River. To that point, the group had followed the established trail, but Little Sandy River marked the point where the trail split with Hastings Cutoff. A schism occurred in the group, with some of the pioneers heeding the warning James Reed had received in Fort Laramie and opting to continue on the California Trail. Meanwhile, the other group, who were willing to risk it on the unproven alternative route, selected a new leader, George Donner. The Donner Party followed the Hastings Cutoff to Fort Bridger, but instead of meeting Lansford Hastings himself, they found only a letter that had been left with a group of other travelers. History says that this note said that Hastings had joined another group and had gone ahead, encouraging the Donner Party to catch up, and saying that he would mark the trail for them. Feeling confident about Hastings' proposition, the group, consisting at this point of 89 people and 20 wagons, left Fort Bridger. If any member of the Donner Party was still hopeful that the rest of their journey to California along Hastings Cutoff would be smooth sailing, they would have been having second thoughts by the time the group reached Weber Canyon. According to history, Hastings had promised them that Weber Canyon would provide them with a safe way of traversing the Wasatch Mountains, a rugged part of the Rocky Mountains located in modern-day Utah. But upon reaching the canyon, the members of the Donner Party found yet another note from Hastings. This note warned them that this part of the route was more dangerous than he had initially believed. He advised them to wait there until he could return and show them a better way through the mountains. This put the Donner Party in a bind. To backtrack to Fort Bridger would cost them days. They decided to wait for Hastings, but when he still hadn't shown up after 8 days, they sent a messenger into the canyon to find him. The party's messenger returned with instructions for an alternative route, which would take them through. The Donner Party traversed this pass successfully, but it turned out that it was more difficult than Weber Canyon would have been, as the members of the Donner Party were faced with thick trees and massive boulders. While returning to Fort Bridger would have cost the Donner Party a lot of time, it paled in comparison to what Hastings' alternative through the Wasatch Mountains route cost them. By the time they reached Utah's Great Salt Lake, the detour had cost them 18 days. Wasting so much time meant wasting valuable supplies. Making matters even worse, the party had several wagons get stuck in the mud and were forced to abandon them, losing them even more supplies. Next, the party traversed the Great Salt Lake Desert, which Hastings told them would take 2 days. Not only did it take more, but soft, wet sand caused more wagons to be abandoned. The stretch of the journey was 80 miles, and during the journey, they lost 32 oxen. The attitude of party members began to shift as they began getting frustrated with both Lansford Hastings and the man who had started many of them on the journey in the first place, James Fraser Reed. Lost time also meant that by the time the Donner Party reached the Sierra Nevada mountains, it was late in the year, when the weather in the mountains is, and was, at its most treacherous. The Donner Party had finally made it to the Sierra Nevada mountains, but because of the many delays they had faced, they got there as fierce weather started to appear. According to history, heavy snowfall on October 28, 1846 blocked the trail the party needed to take and trapped them in the mountains. Around this time, a broken axle on George Donner's wagon caused the group to split up, with most of the Donner family staying behind.
Monday 30th, snow and fast wind, about 4 or 5 feet deep. No living thing without wings can get about.
Multiple attempts to traverse the trail anyway failed, and the remaining party members were forced to build shelters to wait out the winter. Multiple families were forced to share hastily built cabins, crowding together for warmth. Food dwindled further, and they were forced to kill and eat the last remaining ox that November. After that, they ate whatever they could find, including bones and bark. By mid-December, a group of 5 men, 9 women, and 1 child took a chance. And
you know what? They also, because of course he's not telling everything. Of course, they also, and I had the wrong date. I said 1876 was 1846, right? But they also was boiling bones and stuff, and make them real soft, I guess, to make some type of I don't know what they was trying to make out of it. I just know they boiled the bones and stuff. They also boiled like the little something with that the horses and stuff use. They also did the hides. They ate the cow hides. Or horses' hides, or whoever. They ate those too, as well as horse meat, the oxen, and just a lot of different stuff, the animals and stuff. And then I don't know if he said that or not, when people died, some people, including I think a child or some of the kids that died, they ate them as well, their flesh. So they was doing a lot of, things to try to survive.
Left the camp to try to make it over the mountains. This group quickly ran out of food and was caught in a blizzard. As members of this group died, the survivors turned to cannibalism. In early February of 1847, several search parties, including one led by James Reed, left to look for survivors. 2 weeks later, they found what they thought was a deserted camp, but quickly learned it wasn't. Not yet, at least. Many of those still there were close to death, and as rescue efforts dragged into March, the scenic locale would be dubbed Starved Camp. The party really did eat everything else first: oxen, then their hides, leather, bones cooked and recooked. Michael Wallace, author of The Best Land Under Heaven, The Donner Party, and The Age of Manifest Destiny, they ate literally everything before they had to turn to human flesh. They, of course, killed the great oxen, the horses, everything, and ate that meat. They boiled the hides. They picked out the bone marrow. They made this gelatinous, awful goo from the hides, and it had very little, if any, nutritional value. After everything else was gone, they were then left with each other. It's unclear who might have been deliberately murdered to provide meat for the survivors. It's certain that 2 Native Americans were shot and butchered. In a February 2017 interview in Smithsonian, Bill Schutz, author of Cannibalism, A Perfectly Natural History, explained why we shouldn't be so quick to judge. We have these sets of rules we try to follow, but when the going gets tough, that stuff eventually goes out the window. There's a biological directive to survive, and at that point, when you reach that extreme, you're not worried about the fact that there's a taboo. You simply want to live.
The misery we endure would make the coldest heart ache. We are so weak we can scarcely walk.
Rescue parties spent more than 2 months trying to find and save those who survived. Of the 81 trapped by the snow, 45 walked out alive. Roughly half had engaged in cannibalism. Only 2 of the original dozen families made it out to California without suffering a death. The grisly tale of the Donner Party found its way into newspapers in 1847, where those who survived the ordeal were painted as murderers and derided for poor conduct, including alleged cannibalism. Survivors' accounts of what happened during the winter of 1846 and 1847 varied a great deal. Blame was placed on Lansford Hastings for a shortcut, which fell out of use almost immediately, while others blamed James Reed for ignoring the warnings he had received at Fort Laramie. The Donner Party incident and the publicity it received caused a significant reduction in the number of people traveling across the continent, but that dip wouldn't last long. In 1848, just a year later, gold was discovered in California. It was the beginning of the gold rush, and by 1849, thousands of people were once again racing out to California in search of riches. Ironically, many of these people traveled to the Sierra Nevada mountains and the surrounding areas, the same place where many members of the Donner Party met their deaths. Check out one of our newest videos right here.
So we just got a short, brief story about exactly what happened. And it's other stuff that's added to this because, of course, they went through more than what he said. Like I was telling you guys, even when they shot the 2 Native Americans and stuff, I heard when I was looking at something else that the 2 Native Americans separated from them because they were scared that they were going to get killed and eaten. So that's when they ran off. And I guess when they was hiking, the other group was hiking, they came in contact with them. I don't know what happened. Because when you research this, they have different stories regarding this entire situation right here. But I do know they said Reed ate one of the children that died. He ate their flesh to stay alive. So this is a lot. And then Reed also, I think he got into a fight with someone, right? Over, I don't know, the other person, I think, was abusing the oxen or whatever, the animals. And so I guess Reed must have intervened or whatever the case is. And then him and the other guy got into it. And when they got into an altercation, Reed stabbed him to death. I think that was Reed, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I think they talk about it in the next video. So I'm going to show you guys that in 1 second. Let me go to that one. Let me make sure I do this right. Because yesterday when I did this, I messed up some stuff when I did this, when I was trying to show you guys the other videos and stuff. So let me see if I can do this right this time. But this is a pretty fascinating story. And I do encourage you guys to look online and find the movie. Not that one that I watched last night, because the one that I watched last night is adding this Donner Party full movie right here. Is adding stuff to it, you know, to make it more thrilling. So I don't know if you want to watch that
as
one.
Women, our bodies change as we age.
Because
And
everything in that one is not telling you the exact 100% truth. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is the Donner's Party's final campsite by History Hunter. So y'all can take a look at this. And they're going to go into more detail about it and also show you the actual area where they were at and show you how it possibly looked when they were there in 1846 and 1847.
On October 26, 1846, a wagon train from Illinois heading for California could go no farther than this location in what is now the Tahoe National Forest. Early snowstorms began blanketing the Sierra Nevada, trapping the group of immigrant men, women, and children from moving on to Sutter's Fort in Sacramento, 90 miles away. By December, members of the party slowly began dying of starvation. Desperation set in when members made the difficult decision to eat the flesh of their deceased fellow travelers. This is where the Donner Party went down in the annals of human desperation in Old West folklore.
Hi, on this episode of History Hunters, we're going to explore the actual site where the Donner Party camped when they were cannibalizing their dead to stay alive that winter of 1846, 1847.
A lot of people think that the Donners were actually camped at the Donner State Memorial Park, which is at the east end of Donner Lake. However, this marker in what is now Picnic Grounds parking lot details how 25 members of the Donner Party were trapped here. George and brother Jacob Donner, their families, teamsters, and other travelers endured unbelievable hardships to get here. Only 11 survived. The dead included George and Tamsin Donner and Jacob and Elizabeth Donner, who always thought of their children first throughout the ordeal, and as the first of a series of rescue parties arrived.
They both died saving their children.
Yeah.
Tamsin and Elizabeth.
What's interesting, they banished James Reed for killing a man out in the Nevada desert. I talked about that in one of my videos. James Reed got to Sutter's Fort, and when they didn't show up, he thought something terribly wrong had taken place, and it had. They got trapped in the snowstorms. And so he was the one that helped initiate the rescue parties that actually saved half the Donner Party. So maybe it was divine intervention.
This place looks very green and serene, but the Donners only experienced it covered in snow. In 1879, Charles McGlashan, led by some of the survivors, pinpointed this area of Alder Creek as the Donner campsite. There's been some controversy as to whether or not the Donners were here, but some of the physical evidence left behind, some bone fragments, some china, and other objects give evidence that this was the Donner campsite. The campsite is about a third of a mile away. George Donner was a farmer in Springfield, Illinois, when he decided to relocate his third wife, Tamsin, and 5 daughters to California. On April 14, 1846, he joined other families who readied their wagons to leave everything behind and spend months of arduous travel through virgin lands out west. For safety, they traveled in caravans. He wasn't the original leader, but eventually Donner and James Reed led the group and made the fateful decision to take the unproven Hastings cutoff route through Utah, which was advertised as a time saver. It was a disastrous decision. The route was blocked with boulders, trees, and ruts through the Wasatch Mountains. Navigating the obstacles and trudging through vast expanses of the waterless desert set them behind about 2 weeks, which placed them here in one of the worst snowstorms that California would ever see. There was no way to get over the mountains to Sutter Fort in Sacramento.
On his way to this campsite, George Donner had an accident with his wagon. The axle broke, the wagon tipped, and he thought he killed his daughters. They found out the daughters were okay, but the axle was broke, and he had to fix it. And while using the axe, he badly cut himself. It became gangrenous, and he basically became an invalid that had to be cared for by his wife, Tamsin.
Who later got eaten.
Yeah, the sad thing is, when the first relief party came, George Donner was too weak to even move. And of course, we weren't talking about relief efforts with wagons. We were talking, you had to walk in on snowshoes. He was 2 weeks, so they left him behind. They left Tamsin, his wife, behind. They took the little girls. There were second, third, and fourth relief parties, and even the second, third relief, George Donner was dying. When they came back through here, George Donner was not only dead, but his gut had been split open and his entrails had been eaten. I understand that Tamsin Donner was eaten by Louis Kessberg. He actually made it to California, but
Hey,
they said they were losing their minds. The lack of nutrients, the lack of food caused them to grow delirious, and just, you know what that does to the human mind, it just makes people crazy. And that may have contributed to the cannibalism that took place here. Maybe their sense of right and wrong, but I have to think it was their survival instinct. Stephen Kearney, the explorer, and John Fremont both came through here not long after this camp had been eviscerated. Kearney said that they buried some bodies, but there's no evidence of a mass grave here or at the other camp. So it's believed that they just threw the bodies inside the cabins and set the cabins on fire. Easiest way to deal with the bodies. I think what grips people about the entire saga is the months of starvation and suffering, sitting and sleeping on wet ground and having to eat oxen hide and boiling bones to the point they were just crumbling between their teeth. Absolutely nothing to eat, just the desperation of knowing that they were all likely to die here. Fortunately, about half of them were rescued. So this is the Donner campsite that's been identified by Charles McGlashan.
My entire life, I was overweight, and I
I'll
had tried
pass this commercial right here
everything. I was
again.
obsessive.
This plaque was placed here in 1960, and it reads, on October 28, 1848, the 6 covered wagons brought west by George and Jacob Donner and their families halted here for repairs. By March of 1847, one half of the party of 22 adults and children had died of starvation and cold. They came west seeking a new life and found misery and death. I believe part of that's inaccurate, that the wagon accident was elsewhere and that they were only stopped here because of the snow. There were a number of families here at what is called Alder Camp. 16 were Donner family members. Because the snow hit really quickly, the families were only able to build lean-to shelters propped up against the tall trees here. Nobody knows exactly how many shelters there were here, but they were separated. Archaeologist students sifted through this area, and they found artifacts that suggested where Jacob and George Donner had set up camp. They found strong evidence that the camps were here when they dug up an 1830 U.S. penny and an 1839 Isle of Man farthing from England.
Near this spot stood the tree which marked what was believed to be the campsite of the family of George Donner in the winter of 1846. This suggests that the tree isn't even here anymore.
Because of the wagon accident and George Donner cutting his hand, the Donners lagged behind and took a different route. So it's believed that they saw this as a better route, even though it was off the main route established by prior parties that came into.
So this area right here is the route they were taking. But back in 1846, it's clear that this area wasn't like it is now. So it was like a dangerous route. So I mean, I probably wouldn't have taken it, but you know, back then you never know how people thought and stuff.
To California, the Donners would have come in from this direction. Way off in the distance is Prosser Reservoir, which wasn't here at the time, but they would have come right through that area where the lake is. They made it here to this area when a brutal snowstorm hit them, and they had no time to build a decent shelter. Today, there's some beautiful flowers growing here, but back when they were here, there was nothing but deep snow,
Right.
which stopped them in their tracks. They were already weary and must have been heartbroken that they could not continue to Sutter's Fort. The last relief effort reached here on April 17th, 1847.
You can see that all that snow. Look at this is what it looked like. A lot of snow, and then they're out there on those makeshift. They look like skis to me, but you know those they call them snow whatever. To walk through the snow, but they made this themselves to try to get to California and stuff, so they can get a rescue team, I guess, to go back and get the other people.
That's when they came back. Saw George Donner, his wife Tamsin.
They were dead.
Were dead, mutilated, cannibalized.
Goodness.
It's interesting that for decades, people believed that this tree was the original tree. That
like in the movie, they didn't show where the wife stayed there with him, but it did show. That's why I say that actual movie that I saw last night, was basically adding stuff and taking stuff out, because you just heard him say it, that the wife stayed there with him, even though the Donner guy died. The husband died, the wife stayed there too, and she died, I guess, froze to death or starved. And then clearly some of the other group people must have came back and saw them, and then they cannibalized those two and, ate them. So, yeah, ate the insides, I guess, and left the other part of the body there. Gosh, just imagine doing that.
Donner set up an emergency shelter. In fact, San Jose school teacher Peter Waddell came here with McGlashan, who pointed out the tall stumps as the only relics of the campsite left behind. Waddell nailed that sign to this tree in 1927. The sign is barely legible, but reads Donner Camp. However, this is not the tree, as those who came here immediately after the Donner Camp was cleared said that it had been chopped down for firewood. One of those who was here was Jean-Baptiste Trudeau, one of George Donner's hired hands. He camped here. It's said that he later admitted to eating the remains of Jacob Donner's 4-year-old son, Samuel, who died in March. It was probably that cannibalism that meant that he would survive the camp and live to be an old man. So on this display here is a photo of a very young Eliza Donner, one of the daughters of George Donner, who was rescued and lived out the rest of her life in Los Angeles, where she died in 1922.
So I want to ask you something, Sarah. Do you think it's possible that you could have ever eaten a human being if you were placed in that position?
And I want to ask everybody that too. Do you think if you were stranded somewhere like that and didn't have any more food or anything, no way to get food or anything, could you eat a person if the person died? And you know what? I also read somewhere yesterday that they had more animals there. It's just that the oxen and the horses was covered by snow and they had frozen to death. So I guess they couldn't get to them or didn't know. So if they would have known, they could have, dug them out and, ate that. So I don't know. I don't know how they was thinking, because, eating dead bodies and stuff and being almost starving and, just tired and, just getting frustrated. I guess it can make you think all types of things, and then you don't think about certain things. So do you think you could actually do that if you didn't have any food or no way to get food and you were stranded, somewhere like they were?
Would I ever eat a human being if I had to?
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to ask me when it came to that point, because, I wouldn't want to, but when it gets down to it, I guess you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and I think that's the part of people are grossed out. They think, well, how could you ever do that? But they were eating mice. They were boiling their saddles and the rugs that were before the fire.
Did you just say they were eating mice too?
Fire hard. That's how desperate it got for him.
Hey, look at the sap that's dripping out of that tree.
And then you heard him. They also boiled the saddle from the horses and stuff. You could eat that. So they were basically trying to eat anything and everything until they was left with no choice but to eat the flesh and the insides, I guess, of some of the people who died, and the two that they definitely shot and butchered.
What you get?
Souvenirs.
Pine cones?
A pine cone. Some moss.
This display shows how the Trapped Donner Party cut off the tops of trees for firewood, which actually documented the depth of the snowdrifts. And there's a quote by Jean-Baptiste Trudeau, one of the hired teamsters, who said, quote, "I don't know what I would have done sometimes without the comforting prayers of those two women," referencing the sisters-in-law, Tamsin and Elizabeth Donner. Sadly, he was able to survive by eating the flesh of Elizabeth Donner's dead son, but the women didn't survive.
Wow.
So now we're going to go to the Donner State Memorial Park, check out the site of the Murphy cabin, where other unspeakable horrors took place.
Hey.
I just found
We
the
got the
best
bypass.
website to shop for curly hair products for me
Okay.
and my daughters, and that's iHerb.com.
Okay. So this is Donner Lake, 5 miles away.
We're now at the Donner State Memorial, and we're going to see if there's some artifacts that we can check out relating to the Donner Party.
This is really nice. I like watching all this, guys. I just wanted to show
It
you
was
guys.
closed thanks to coronavirus restrictions. We were allowed to see a portion of the lobby where Sarah seized on the opportunity to photograph the taxidermied animals native to the area, while I studied what little I could about the Pioneer Memorial right outside the window. We had to rely on photos from the Donner Memorial website to see what artifacts.
So this is some of the artifacts that they found for where I guess the Donner family and the Reed people were at. This is some of the things they had there that they found to indicate that they were there. So yeah, they had a lot of stuff there. A little thing that they was, I guess that. Okay. Let's see. This is a replica of a doll. That the actual doll is now at Sutter's Fort State Historic Park in Sacramento, California. What would you look for? What would you look to for comfort? So I guess, because, you know, of course, some of the kids brought their toys and stuff. So some of the kids was, you know, obviously, you know, the girls was holding on to their dolls or whatever the case is for comfort. And they was definitely trying to get to Sacramento. That's why they have it at the Fort State Historic Park there.
Artifacts from the party are actually on display. When the rest of the Donner Party made it here to nearby Donner Lake, they found a cabin here that had been built in November 1844 by Moses Schallenberger. With the help of Joseph Foster and Alan Montgomery, who were trapped here by the snows, they were part of the first immigrant train into California. It was the Stevenson Townsend Murphy Party. The Schallenberger cabin was about 12 by 14 feet, 7 or 8 feet high, with a chimney on one end. The men tried to escape for the mountains, but Moses had to come back, and he survived for a couple months on the few foxes that he caught by steel traps. He was finally rescued in March 1845. The Breen family of the Donner Party set up house in this abandoned cabin or nearby here. This large Pioneer Memorial has been here since 1918.
Wow.
And it's been said that the top of it at 22 feet represents how deep the snow was at the time the Donners were here. Lots of people dispute that number, saying it was the accrued snowfall that melted and refell, that at no time would 22 feet of snow stand here. I think they're right. There was actually a dedication ceremony here on June 10th, 1909, at what was the site of the Breen cabin. Present for that ceremony was Truckee historian Charles McGlashan. He had spearheaded the monument construction. Present were 3 survivors of the Donner Party: Virginia Reed Murphy, Patty Reed Lewis, and dressed in white was Frances Donner Wilder. All 3 women would return 3 years later when the monument was completed. When I see that monument, I'm reminded of how short Patty Reed Lewis was,
That's a
standing
tall
up next to him
monument.
with the governor. The plaque there reads, "Virile to risk and fine, kindly withal, and a ready help, facing the brunt of fate, indomitable and afraid." It's one thing to read about the Donner Party and their travails and just the tragedy of what took place here, but it's quite another thing to believe as you're here in this beautiful place that this is actually where it took place.
Wow.
This is a vastly different place than what the Donner Party experienced back in the 1840s. Icy and covered in snow. A very bleak place at the time. Here is the site of the Murphy cabin. That large boulder there was used as a wall of the cabin, and 3 log walls were placed up against it. And it's believed that the chimney was up against the rock side. It was here on this location where the travelers suffered with starvation and little hope. Holed up in this cabin were the Murphy, Foster, Pike, and Eddy families. About 8 of them died here, including 3 of the Murphys, the mom and her 2 kids, 1-year-old Catherine Pike. Eleanor Eddy died here, and 2 of her kids died here. It was a terrible tragedy. There was a William Eddy who was 28. He got out alive. While he was here, he's credited with having shot a bear that provided meat for the party for just a while. He was one of the 14 brave people that called themselves the Forlorn Hope
who broke free in late December and made it to Sacramento. William tried to join the first rescue party back, but he was so weak that he had to terminate that in the foothills. Meanwhile, his family was dying right here. Now, as a side note, Donner historian Charles McGlashan came to this location and he dug up the remains of the last sill log of the Murphy cabin, cut them up into little pieces, stuffed them into glass bottles, sealed them with wax, attached tags documenting the contents, and in 1893, he sold many of them to raise money for the memorial. About 5,000 bottles were produced. Recently on eBay, I saw one of them selling for $250. Just an incredible amount of suffering that happened right here.
Just think that was parts of the cabin that they actually made back then. So he got fragments of that, put it in the containers and sold them online, and people bought that. And then he used that for the memorial. Okay.
Little children that suffered, the mothers that suffered.
It's sad.
It's not generally known, but the males were one of the first to go. It's been said that because they were so exhausted from all their work, the physical activity that took place, even from the Wasatch Mountain cutoff that they went through, that caused them so much physical work, having to clear boulders and rocks and all kinds of trees just to get their wagons through that pass, exhausted them. So by the time they reached this spot, they were physically spent. They didn't have much protein to eat. There was a lot of rice and beans. Of course, they were able to shoot some game, but once they got here, they quickly exhausted their food supply because of the snow that had been falling in this area that completely disabled them to move on. And there are mosquitoes that are trying to eat us, so can't stay here too long.
Showing up on the first page of Google might not be the...
Stop this real quick again, okay?
The internet is full of information that needs to be verified or is just outright incorrect. That includes the findagrave.com website, which claimed that George and Tamsin Donner are buried in a cemetery near Genoa, Nevada, dubbed the Captain George Donner Cemetery. Since we were going to Genoa anyway, we decided to stop by and check for any markers.
It's very remote and not marked at all. Only saw this on findagrave.com.
And I'm just going to bypass this because what they basically said right here is that they didn't really find no real evidence that this was true. Okay, they just think that it's kind of impossible for them to have buried anybody there because I think they said it was a little farther away. Okay, point blank. So I'm going to bypass this and go on through that. Okay, you guys can go to History Hunters and search the Donner's Party Final Campsite if you want to see that. And you can go into that. I'm going to bypass that though. Okay.
So we don't even know if they are here or not. If people put flowers in or something. It was very disappointing to find out that there's nothing here that would indicate why this is called George Donner Memorial Park or Cemetery. Nothing indicates that he's actually buried here. I've found nothing in my research to indicate that he's buried here. But if anybody knows why it's named that, we would love to hear about it in the comment section below. We would love to have you as a subscriber and give us a comment and a like as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of History Hunters.
So these are the people who died, y'all. Oh, that's live. I'm sorry. All right, so y'all just saw that. Basically you found out exactly what happened. Of course, like I said before, you can go online, you can research it more, you can see more videos because it's a lot of stuff. Okay, just too much for me to cover in my video though. So I challenge you guys to go out on YouTube and just look this up and find out more information about exactly what went on. Some really fascinating information. And it's a shame, you know what I'm saying? I wish they would have went the same way that everybody else went, study trying to get there quicker and ended up being there even longer and people dying and, just resorting to cannibalism and then losing their children, just all types of stuff they endured. I mean, just so much. And just imagine they were out there from, I believe, from October all the way up until like March. Okay, March of 1847, I believe. I think that's correct. So they was there for a long time, and waiting for people to die and eating their flesh, trying to stay warm, because I can imagine it was probably freezing out there too, and then those little makeshift cabins that they made, it had to be freezing in there. So, of course, a 1-year-old baby and little bitty kids would probably freeze to death if they didn't starve to death. So it was just a sad situation. It really was. And I think out of the 87 people, I think they said 40 something survived the entire thing. But that's it. If y'all have any questions or whatever about that, you can put it, if you're in the chat, you can put it over here in the chat. Or you can just put your little comments in the comments section when this, goes back into the replay. All right. So that was the Donner family. Now we're going to go ahead and move on. I want to go ahead and go over some important news events for you guys real quick. Okay. And then I'll tell you about the Black History thing. All right. So, wait, y'all. Don't forget the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment as well. And if you want to support this channel, besides thumbing up and subscribing, you can support this channel by Cash Apping $Shades2 as well. And thank you. All right. Let me go ahead and get this stuff that I need to get here for you guys. Archive this news, because a lot of stuff happened. Okay, a lot of stuff happened. So I found an interesting story, y'all, about Biggie Smalls, who I think he was killed back in 1997, if I am not mistaken. All right. So this is allegedly, okay. So this information comes out from Rolling Out. A former bodyguard says Biggie Smalls wasn't killed in a drive-by shooting. Okay. The belief for a long time is that Notorious Big was killed in a drive-by shooting, but a former bodyguard said that's not true. On February the 13th, Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said on the Art of Dialogue show that Biggie Smalls was not killed in a drive-by. Okay, he said it just hurts because they lie too much, Deal said. A lot of that shit be lies, the way they put it together, because they listening to these white boys who wasn't even there. I don't want to make this racial, but they take these white boys who wasn't even there and want to use the stories that they want to tell, which is not the truth. Wasn't no drive-by. The car was standing there at the corner. The stories they tell is not truthful, and now people are sitting here believing. During the interview, Deal recalled the night when Smalls was fatally shot in 1997, having to come to his aid and pull him out of the car. Every Biggie movie that you see, they say it's a drive-by, Deal said. When the witness tells you the car was stood right there at the corner, the car was probably there all night. Okay. And that's all he said right there, guys. That's it. That's everything he said. So he said it wasn't a drive-by. The car was there all night, point blank. But somebody in the comments section said it's still a drive-by, though. A car rolled past and fired shots. Yeah, it was on the corner, not moving at the time, but they shot, but it still was a drive-by shooting by the other car, whether Biggie's car was in motion or not. Let's see. Somebody else said, Lickety said, he should have came out with this when it happened. It's like, how many years later? Bugs Bunny said, I swear, every week someone is coming out of the woodwork ready to talk about criminal activity that they knew about for years. None of them should make one copper penny now that many of them are now broke. Okay. Let's see. Angel said, all these theories that Elvis, Tupac, Michael Jackson, even Prince are still alive is interesting enough, yet not one person has been able to offer any credible evidence these people are alive and well, living off somewhere interesting enough. Everyone has accepted the death. If Whitney Houston, her daughter, Bobby, Christina, without any of these theories at all. Now the death of Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis' daughter, still no. Shh, hold on for a second, y'all. Hey, Lord. They said even Lisa Marie Presley still no there's of being alive and hiding, wonder why. And all these deaths had drugs involved in somewhere. Now, this person wrote this like this, guys. That's why I'm reading it like this. Some of these people in this comment section, I don't even know. Hold on for a minute, y'all. I don't even know what they be talking about. Hold on. I had to tell them to lower their voice. Okay. Let's see. Somebody else said, Patrick said the car drove to the spot, and whether it sat there or not doesn't matter. Not that it did, because it was a busy intersection. Let's say they did, though. The car somehow got close enough to unload the bullets and then drive away. As far as I know, they never found the vehicle nor the driver or occupants. If the car took off, then it's a drive-by. I agree. I mean, I really don't understand what this dude is saying, because if the car was standing there the whole time, it was, I mean, still, if they shot out the car, it's still bullets coming out of the car, whether it's a drive-by or not. Biggie Smalls still got killed. I mean, what difference does it make? I thought they was going to really tell me some information, tell us some information about it and stuff. Here's somebody else saying, so how did this happen? Even if the car was standing still at the corner, still it's a drive-by. And that's exactly what I said. It's still a drive-by, whether it was standing there or not, okay? Point blank. So, I mean, I don't know why he even came out and said anything about it in the first place, because it's so long. It happened way back in 97. And this is like how many years later? And why come he didn't say that back then? Like everybody else said, why come he didn't say that back then? Okay. Anyway, again, may Biggie Smalls continue to rest in peace. Okay, let's go ahead. So did y'all know that ex-NFL player Stanley Wilson is dead at 40 after collapsing in a mental hospital? Let's see when he died. He died at Metropolitan State Hospital in Los Angeles County earlier this month. He was 40 years old. Okay, so Wilson, who is the son of former Bengals running back Stanley Wilson Sr., was reportedly transferred to the medical facility on February the 1st after he was in police custody in county jail due to a vandalism arrest in August. Wilson was arrested after he allegedly broke into a Hollywood Hills home, took a bath in an outdoor fountain, and raided the property, TMZ reported at the time. Wilson was declared incompetent to stand trial, according to prosecutors, resulting in his transfer to Metropolitan State Hospital, which specializes in mental health care. All right. Wilson was a third-round draft pick by the Lions in 2005. He played 2 seasons with Detroit before suffering a career-ending Achilles tear in preseason game against the Giants in 2008. Wilson recorded a career 89 total tackles, 8 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. The former NFL player collapsed and died during intake at the medical facility, law enforcement sources told the outlet. A cause of death was not disclosed, and autopsy results are pending toxicology. Foul play is reportedly not suspected. Okay, so yeah. Wilson had an arrest history of home invasion dating back to 2016 after his playing career ended. All right. So this is him. He was crying after he was arrested. Okay, I'm just gonna show this other picture because I don't know why they be putting up these negative pictures about people when they die. So I'm gonna show this picture of him because this one is not like that. Let's see. Wait, what did I just do? Okay. So that's him. If you guys are football fans, you probably know what he looks like. But anyway, my condolences to his family, fans, and friends, and may he rest in peace. And I don't know. Hopefully he wasn't taking no drugs because I'm just trying to figure out why he collapsed, at the intake office. He was 40 years old too, pretty young, so I don't know. So if they do come up with the results from that toxicology report, I'll let you guys know any updates, okay? All right. Let's see what else we got here for the news, y'all. Okay. Let's see. So Raquel Welch died today at age 82, in case you guys didn't know it. Y'all know who she is. I know y'all know who she is. Well, let me show y'all her picture. Everybody knows who this is. If you know, something is wrong with you. Okay. So let's see what she died of. She was 82 years old. She died today, Wednesday. Let's see. What did she die from? I'm not going to read all this other stuff. Okay. Let's see. What did they say she died from? Well, they said she succumbed to a brief, undisclosed illness. Okay. So that's what she died from. But she was 82, so she had a blessed life. She lived a long time. So she still was blessed. Okay. I remember seeing her when she played in 1 million years BC as that cave woman. And that's what I remember her from. She also played in Fantastic Voyage and back-to-back Three Musketeers and Four Musketeers. Let's see. She was on Legally Blonde and How to Be a Latin Lover, as well as drama House of Versace and Ultimate Legacy. And she was also the face of Raquel Welch Wigs. She is survived by children, Tani Welch and Damon Welch. And again, she was 82 years old. My condolences to her family, fans, and friends. And may she rest in paradise. All right. Another legend gone. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get to this next story. Yeah, I forgot to tell y'all the other day too that De La Soul, from De La Soul, the rap group, he died. I think it was not yesterday. I think it was the day before yesterday. And I don't know what he died from. I think he was 50-some years old, around 56 or 57 years old. He died on Monday, I think. I think it was Monday or somewhere around that time he died. So my condolences to his family, friends, and fans, and may he rest in peace as well. I forgot to tell you guys this the other day too. All right. So the shooter, y'all, in the racist attack on Buffalo supermarket was sentenced to life in prison today. Okay. He was sentenced to life in prison. Let me see what this article says. If I can, these people, I always tell somebody to pull up an article. Well, anyway, he is a white supremacist. He pleaded guilty to killing 10 Black people in a racist mass shooting at Buffalo, New York. Okay, so today he was sentenced to life in prison, and I believe he said that he was sorry. And he doesn't know why he did that. I think that's what he said, and I also believe that before he was sentenced, somebody there, one of the, I guess, family members or whatever, launched out charge to him. I guess they was trying to, get him. But of course, they stopped the guy or whatever and stuff. And then the judge sentenced him to life in prison, which I think is a good sentence. He needs to be in prison for life. Okay, people need to think about what they do before they do it. And the thing is, if he is a racist, right? He goes out here and kill people, right? Did he not think that he would have to go to prison for this? Because he's going to get caught. That's stupid. I never understand sometimes why people do certain things and then they think they're going to get away with it and not get caught. And then they willing to risk their freedom to do crimes and stuff. It's kind of crazy to me. Your life is over once you're sentenced to prison forever. You know what I'm saying? It's over. And he's lucky they didn't sentence him to death. But when he's in prison, I'm sure he's going to have to watch his back the whole entire time. Because people are probably going, you know, especially some of the black groups there in prison, you know, that may be a little racist or whatever the case is against white people. He's going to have to join some of those racist groups there in order to have protection. Otherwise, how long will he last in prison? But anyway, I'm glad he did get life in prison because he definitely deserves that, among other things. But yeah, so I'm just glad he got life in prison because sorry, can't bring all of those 10 people back. You know what I'm saying? Those loved ones are still sad about that. You know, they'll never see their loved ones ever again because of this psychopath killing everybody because he's racist. And then you want to say that he don't know why he did it and he's sorry? Please stop doing stuff. Okay, stop doing crimes and then pleading and saying sorry. You wasn't sorry. That's why you did it. And he really deserved more than life in prison, honestly, but he'll pay for it. He's probably already paying for it. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next story. Again, my condolences to all of those family members who all of their loved ones got murdered. And may they rest in peace as well. Okay. Let's see where else I'm at here, y'all. Let me see. So today, let's see what the story is, guys. This man got sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. A California man was sentenced to 25 years, y'all, in federal prison for distribution of methamphetamine. I know I'm saying that wrong. In the Nashchack area. U.S. Attorney Office, Southern District of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. A California man was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison for his involvement in a conspiracy to traffic over $250,000 worth of methamphetamine and marijuana into the Nashchack area of Mississippi, announced U.S. Attorney Darren J. Lamarsa and Special Agent in Charge Brad Burley of the Drug Enforcement Administration. According to court documents, Arthur Wilson, 57, he is too old, okay, of Moreno Valley, California, conspired with Wesley Bell of Nashchack, Jimmy Lee Sarrigan Jr. of Mesquite, Texas, Thomas Jerome Mitchell and Justin Chambers of Victorville, California, Kevin Singleton, formerly of Nashchack, to traffic kilograms of methamphetamine and marijuana into the Nashchack area for distribution and sale. Wilson was also convicted of conspiracy to commit money laundering for his role in moving more than $345,000 in drug proceeds from Nashchack to his drug suppliers in California. These people never learned. The case is part of an organized crime drug enforcement task force operations. Okay, that operation identifies, disrupt, and dismantle the highest level drug traffickers, money launderers, gangs, and transnational criminal organization that threatened the United States by using a prosecutor-led, intelligence-driven, multi-agency approach that leverages the strength of federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies against criminal networks. That was a lot, y'all. So this is what that agency does. So again, I don't understand why these people do these little crimes. And I don't know if they think about if they're going to get caught, or they just don't think about it and just hope they don't get caught. I just don't understand it. And then when they get caught, okay, you get all the money, you get everything that you want, all the cars, the houses, and whatever else the case, you know. But the thing is, if you get caught, then you lose all of this stuff. Okay, you lose everything because you know they're going to confiscate everything. And then you got to sit your ass in prison for 25 years. The man is already 57. So when he get out of prison, because it's fed, so he probably won't get like no parole or anything. I don't know. So 57, 67, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 2. He's going to be 82 years old. His life is over when he gets out. It's over if he even lasts that long. So, I mean, I don't understand, again, why these people don't think about all these things before they do all these crimes and stuff. And then, I mean, how stupid. You know, when you're doing certain things, that is a slight possibility that someone may be watching or someone may tell. How do they keep on doing stuff and not thinking that it's going to raise flags or somebody may tell, and then they watching you? You know what they do? They'll watch you for damn months, years, until they get a lot of evidence to keep you incarcerated for a longer amount of time. Like I said, I just don't know why people don't really be thinking when they do these crimes. They be so infatuated with the money and having fame and success that they'll do anything to get it. Anything. It's plainly ridiculous. 25 years in federal prison for his involvement in a conspiracy to traffic over $250,000 worth of methamphetamine and marijuana into the Natchez area. That's ridiculous. Let me see what some of these comments says. BB says it's not a long enough sentence for someone with such a disregard for human life. A death in prison sentence seems appropriate. Vincent said, this is a little fish. I hope they get the big fish. In other words, thanks, y'all. They hope they get the person, you know, the person that's behind everything for real. Okay, point blank. They'll never get them, though. So let's see what else somebody says. Bob Bam says he will be released in a few years. California doesn't take crime seriously unless a politician is threatened. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Manlula, whatever his name is, says they pay for snitches. That's how the law gets these big busts. I say the same thing. That's why I don't understand why these people be doing these things. Because someone always tell. Someone always tell. Damn, why do these crimes? And then you always got one weak person in the whole network that tells, or somebody makes a mistake, and then you got to go to prison forever because somebody just couldn't keep their damn mouth closed, point blank. Let's see. Patricia said, and all I can say is stiffer penalties. And they think that's long enough? Yeah. In a cushion prison that you can take and get a degree and eat and sleep and get your medicine and medical all on the people's dimes. Well, you got to have prison and jails, okay? You just can't go out and kill people for crimes like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what these people be talking about. You have to take care of them in jail. You just can't throw them in jail or prison and don't feed them, don't give them medication, an adequate place to sleep, and, you know, to take a bath and blase. You have to make sure they're taken care of. The thing about it, only people who say stupid stuff like this are somebody who has never spent time in a cell. Regardless of what they offer these inmates, you know, and why she says cushy, I don't think it's cushy. Because like I told y'all before, when I was in law in college, we visited the jail, right? And even though the one that I visited was brand new and everything looked new, those damn beds were made out of the frame was made out of what, metal or whatever the case is. And they got those little thin mattresses and stuff. How is that cushy? And then you got then the bathroom is right there. The toilet is right there in the cell. So when you use the bathroom, you got other people, another person in the room with you. So what if you have to do the BM thing? You're gonna smell that. So how's that cushy? Just like when women go to jail and they're on their missus and stuff, nobody wants to smell that. How's that cushy? You want privacy anyway. And then lights out, lights on early in the morning, lights out. It's not late when the lights are out. You still want to be up. You know what I'm saying? They turn all the lights out. So how's that cushy? Being in the same area all day, every day, how's that cushy? It's still incarceration, okay? And like I said, the only person who would think that's cushy is somebody who never really spent time locked up inside of a cage and stuff. No, you don't have to stay in there all day. You come out, you go out and exercise and whatever else, watch TV or whatever else they do there. But the thing is, they have to go back inside those cages. Okay, they have to go back inside there at night when it's time to go to bed, and maybe throughout the day if they have lockdown or whatever else they may have going on there. And then you've been told what to do. How is that cushy? They even give you your medicine. You know what I'm saying? How's that cushy? And then you have to watch your back in prison, in jail. You know, because you don't want to, you know, somebody to be starting something with you or trying to take stuff from you or trying to do other things to you. You just don't want these to happen. How's that cushy? I don't think jail or prison is fun. You know, maybe for celebrities because maybe they get special treatment or whatever the case is, but not regular people. You know what I'm saying? I just don't believe that. And 25 years is a long time, regardless. Okay, it's a long time to be trapped up in some cell or inside that building, period, and being told what to do, giving you that food. I don't even know if the food is really all that good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't see it being really good. I mean, I just guess they just get used to it. You know what I'm saying? Because what else they're going to do if they don't eat, they're going to starve. And I'm pretty sure they make them eat. You know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't see it being cushy. Okay, I just don't. I just can't. I can't even imagine being locked up for no 25 years. Not even 5. Not even 10. Okay. Shit, maybe 2, but not even that really. But I mean, it's just being in that. I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I just couldn't. That's why I couldn't do no life of crime, because risking going to prison, please. So it's like you can't be doing crimes because you're gonna pay the time if you get caught, point blank. And that's just on everything. What? Is this what he just said? Let me see if this is true. I'm not going to read this because I don't believe this. Okay, we're not going to read this. Y'all can, okay, I'm not going to read that. All right, let's see what else I got on here for the news. Then I'm going to go ahead and go into the other story about the Black Inventors, because it's already 1 hour and 20 minutes I've been on here. So let me give you guys this last news article, and then that will be it with the recent news, okay? Let me just tell you, I'm not going to read this entire. Wait, actually, I'm not. Wait a minute, let me see what they say here first, guys. Wait, because you guys probably won't know what I'm talking about anyway. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to read this one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to read this, okay? I want to, but I'm not, because, again, it's pretty long. But anyway, if you want, I'll tell you this. Scientists identify a nutrient that cancer cells crave. Okay. Let's see. No, this is not. Okay, we can't be watching this one right here. Let me go back to that story, y'all. Let's see, where was I at? Here it is right here. Okay, let me see. I may be able to read just a little of it, okay? So, I don't know how you pronounce this word. Let me just put it up here in the thing. I'm going to tell you a little because you guys do need to know this. Okay, you do need to know this. So this, my ass cannot type. Let me see. Make sure I do this right, y'all. These misspelling words and shit. Okay, so this right here, guys, this nutrient right here. Okay, so arginine, I don't know how you pronounce that. Okay, so excuse the way I just said that. This is an amino acid naturally produced by our bodies, and it's plentiful in the fish, meat, and nuts that we eat. But as recent, why do they write like, why do they type like this? But a recent research published in the journal Science Advances states I don't know if this arginine, this right here, arginine, is an essential nutrient for cancer cells too. Okay, so if you want to look that up to find more research on it, you can. I'm not going to read this entire article, but they claim allegedly that amino acid, the one that I have right up there, is a nutrient for cancer cells too. And they claim that starving them of it could potentially render tumors more vulnerable to the body's natural immune response. So again, I'm not going to read this entire thing because you probably won't know what I'm talking about anyway, but you can just look that up and get more information on that yourself to find out what they are talking about in detail. Now, this article came from, let me write this name down so you guys can know what it is, okay? It came from Psych Greg or Psych Cheg or whatever shit, or Psych Cheg. So let me just write it because I may be pronouncing this the wrong way. And you can go to this site yourself, or you can ask your doctor about it if they know, and go from there. Let me see if I type that right. I don't know what the crap I'm doing over here. PSYCHREG. This is a site you can find this on. Wait a minute. So you can go to this site here and you can find more regarding that. Okay. And the name of the article, it says scientists identify nutrient that cancer cells crave. And that nutrient, once again, is this right here. Is that. Okay. So if you want to know more about that, go to this site right here. This right up there on the screen. And it can go, you can find out as much as you need to know about arginine or however you pronounce that. That is a amino acid that is naturally produced by our bodies, and it's also in fish, meat, and nuts that we eat. And they think that it could possibly be linked to it could be possibly a nutrient for cancer cells. All right. So in other words, it could be feeding, I guess, the cancer cells, or and it make it more cancerous or whatever, or spread or whatever the case is. But go read that. Okay, so you can figure it out on your own. I'm not going to read all of that. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then plus I will have to research stuff to get a better understanding. So that's why you need to do that. And then you can look up stuff to get a better understanding, or you can ask your doctor point blank if they know. All right. All right. So now, guys, I'm going to I will tell you this real quick. Before we leave from this news thing, I got to read this too for you guys. Okay, because this is very important. So Mississippi cops beat, waterboarded, handcuffed black man, shot one for dating white women. Okay. So they did all this to this dude. He ended up going to the hospital. Okay. So multiple white police officers in Mississippi falsely accused two black men of selling drugs and dating white women before handcuffing them and brutally torturing them last month, including shooting one of them in the mouth and what should result in attempted murder charges. A group of lawyers said this week. I never even heard of this before. The police violence has left Michael C. Jenkins hospitalized and fighting for his life with injuries that forced doctors to remove his tongue, according to attorneys. This is sad. Damn. Is this him right here? Let me show y'all what he looks like real quick, y'all. Now, I haven't even heard of this story before for real. Wait, let me show you what he looks like. That's him, Jenkins. And that's him in the hospital. Okay, let's see. Jenkins was with Eddie Terrell Parker in a private residence in the village of Braxton on January the 24th, when the location was raided by 6 white officers without a warrant. Black Lawyers for Justice said in a press release email to News One. Damn. The officers allegedly accused Jenkins and Parker of dating white women and selling drugs. Allegations attorneys have denied before handcuffing them. After they were restrained, the officers allegedly repeatedly brutally beat and kicked the men while using a taser or both and threatened to kill them. A witness even described the officers participating in something of a taser contest, with Jenkins and Parker being the targets, Jenkins' mother said. The brutality allegedly reached torturous levels when officers waterboarded Jenkins and Parker by employing the potentially deadly interrogation tactic that has been outlawed at the highest level of the military. Jenkins' mother says she was told by police that her son displayed a gun, which is why he was shot. But Mary Jenkins also said in a GoFundMe account she started that a witness said her son didn't have a gun. The witness told us that Jenkins was beat, tased, and handcuffed while on his knees. The witness also stated that they went back and forth tasing to see whose taser was the strongest. That's sad. Jenkins has been left in critical condition at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. Michael has been clinging to his life, and he is unable to talk and only write. Michael has confirmed in writing that he was, in fact, handcuffed when shot by deputies. For several weeks since being shot, Michael has been in ICU at UMMC on life support. Michael suffered several injuries to his mouth and head, including having his tongue surgically removed. He also has permanent damage to eyesight and hearing and suffering severe deliberate. I can't even say this. He has severe congenital. Can't even say this, y'all. Damn. Cognitive injuries. I think I said that right. Surely the psychological and physical trauma will last a lifetime. That's sad. Black Lawyers for Justice announced they will hold a press conference on Wednesday to make several demands, including that the officers involved be arrested and criminally charged, as well as all body cam footage be released and made public. Attorney Malik Z. Shabazz told News One that Parker is not hospitalized and is expected to be present at the press conference. The alleged police brutality took place about 1 week after officers in Memphis beat an unarmed black motorist, Tyree Nicholas, so severely during a traffic stop that he died from his injuries 3 days later on January the 10th. The fallout from that has been swift, with the officers being fired and charged with murder amid a widened investigation that includes the highest levels of local government and public safety. That's sad. So they beat this man. This is sad. Somebody, Rose said, well, these corrupt, dishonest cops should be charged and put their names in the police department hiring data system to be unable to be officers in no U.S. police department. They should go to jail. Right, they should just go to prison. Jetta said, I'm all for the law, but enough is enough. These bad policemen have got to be punished. Bring the criminals to justice, but not like this. What is wrong with these so-called police? But what did they stop him for? They was lying on this dude, and I think another dude they were not doing anything. Were they? Let's see. They said that they were sleeping with white women and selling drugs, right? That's what they said. Okay. And they beat Jenkins so severely that he's in critical condition. His tongue was cut, was surgically removed. What else did it say? He has a lot of injuries. He was in ICU, critical condition. Let's see, what else did they say? They waterboarded him, and they waterboarded Parker as well. But Parker is not in the hospital, but Jenkins is, because they really, I guess, did a lot of stuff to Jenkins. Let's see. Yeah, they tased him. They beat him, all while he was handcuffed on his knees. They went back and forth with both of them. You know, they went back and forth with tasing both Jenkins and Parker. They made it out of a game. And Jenkins was the one who was left in critical condition. Okay, so Jenkins was left in critical conditions. Okay, so who is, let me see, the other guy. What was the other guy name? What's his first name? Let me see. Yeah, his first name is Michael. So he is the one that was left in critical condition. And the other guy, Parker, I believe, got out of, or he was never hospitalized. Parker was never hospitalized. And he's going to be at that press, well, he should have been at the press conference today. But Jenkins got the blunt of everything, I believe. And he is the one that was hospitalized in critical condition in ICU, and also had his tongue surgically removed, as well as suffering other severe injuries. That's a damn shame. They need to get rid of some of these police officers, all of the ones that do all these crazy things, man. And they need to make it a little bit harder to become a police officer, to make sure they get people who are not going to be abusive, unfair, racist, and all this other crazy stuff that some of these cops do. My prayers are with Michael Jenkins and his families. I hope I hope he makes he probably won't make no full recovery because they had to surgically remove his tongue and stuff. But hopefully he gets better, and hopefully justice is done to those cops. Racist. I don't know why some of these people are allowed to even be a police officer. That's on everything. That's sad. But anyway, guys, yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on. That's sad that that happened to him. And my prayers are definitely with him and his family. All right, so that's going to be it for the news thing, guys. Let me go ahead and do this little quick, going over these Black inventors, to celebrate Black History Month. Like I said earlier, it's very vital that we start to realize our true worth, okay, and start acting like it. Because Black people have definitely contributed to the society in so many different ways and have made the USA what it is today. Okay, point blank. Now I have a list of all these people, and I'm not going to go tell you everything that these people did because it's a long list. Maybe I'll do that on another video because I actually was watching a video today when I was getting my son's schoolwork together, and that's when I saw all these Black inventors because, of course, I'm teaching him about Black history, and I'm teaching him things that they don't teach you in regular school. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you this list, and I was hoping that I would have enough time to go through each person, but I'll probably do that tomorrow. But I just want to give you a list, and I may be able to tell you what some of these people have done, okay? So let me see. My food is sitting right here, too. I'm eating turkey burgers and a salad, okay? But anyway, let me go ahead with the first person, okay? And let me see if I can look this person up. Maybe I can do it on this thing right here to make it a little bit more easier, okay? Let's see. So the first person, y'all, is Frederick McKinley Jones. Let's see what he is. Let me go to Google. Let me go to Google instead, not YouTube. Let's see how do you do this. Let me see if I can do this right. Because yesterday when I did this, y'all, it was a hot ass mess. I wasn't even on the same screen. Let me see if I did this right. Let's see, Frederick McKinley. And I tell you what I'll do is go over some today and tell you what they invented and then go over the rest tomorrow. And it would probably be better if I do it like that. Yeah, it's up there. Okay, so y'all listen, okay, because this is very, very important. What did I just do, y'all? I told you I'm always doing something. So Frederick McKinley Jones was an American inventor. He was an entrepreneur, an engineer, and a winner of the National Medal of Technology, and an inductee of the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Okay, Jones innovated mobile refrigeration technology, y'all. He received 61 patents, 40 for refrigeration technology. All right. His invention eliminated the far less effective use of ice and salt to preserve food for transport. Okay. He invented the first successful system for mobile refrigeration. Let's go to Wikipedia. I really don't like using Wikipedia, y'all, because it don't be having true information here. So let's go to something else. Damn it. Go to this. So that's him, okay? So between 1919 and 1945, he patented more than 60 inventions, okay? 40 of those patents were in refrigeration. He is best known for inventing the first automatic refrigeration system for trucks that they use today, okay, to store your food in when they transport it to the grocery stores. All right. Jones was born on May the 17th, 1893 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. And you guys can read more about Frederick McKinley Jones by going to Black Past. All right. And type in, well, you can actually go on Google, but you can go right to blackpast.org and you can find out more information about Frederick McKinley Jones. born 1893, died 1961. All right. The next person, y'all, is Dr. Shirley Jackson. All right. Let me make sure I do this right. Do this. Dr. Shirley. So Dr. Shirley Jackson, y'all, let me go down here, was, this is her, I think this is her right here. Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson was a physician and a famous Black inventor, okay? She was credited with making many advances in science. She first developed an interest in science and mathematics during her childhood and conducted experiments and studies, such as those on the eating habits of honeybees. She followed this interest to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where she received a bachelor and doctoral degree, all in the field of physics. In doing so, she became the first African-American woman to earn a PhD from MIT. All right. Jackson conducted successful experiments in theoretical physics, and used her knowledge of physics to foster advances in telecommunication research while working at Bell Laboratories. Dr. Jackson conducted breakthrough basic scientific research that enabled others to invent the portable fax, the touch-tone telephone, solar cells, fiber optic cables, and the technology behind caller ID and call waiting. All right. Today, Dr. Jackson is the president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, the oldest technological research university in the United States. And it's one of the nation's top 50 universities. Okay. So y'all can look up her more in detail on blackinventor.com. All right. The next person is, let me go back to this. Go to Google. See, I'm like, it's always going out. Motion detector lights, man. They stay on for a while and you have to get them right back on. All right, the next person is Lewis Lattimore. Let's find all out about Lewis. Y'all got to excuse my bloopers tonight, okay, y'all? Sometimes when I get on camera, I let my nerves take over. So let's see. Lewis Lattimore. I know y'all heard of him. Okay. So we know what he made. Okay, the filament. Or the filament. Let's go to down somewhere else. Let's see. Let's go down here. So Lewis Howard Latimer was born 1848, died 1928. He was an African-American inventor, electrical pioneer, and a son of two formerly enslaved Virginians who self-liberated. With no access to formal education, Latimer taught himself mechanical drawing while in the Union Navy and eventually became a chief draftsman, a patent expert, and an inventor. So he worked with three of the most celebrated scientific inventors in American history: Alexander Graham Bell, Hiram S. Masson, and Thomas Alva Edison. He played a critical role in the development of the telephone, significantly improved the production of carbon filament, and made important contributions to the commercialization of the incandescent light bulb, if I said that correctly, okay? He also developed a passion for visual art and creative writing and music. And some of his artistic endeavors viewed at the Louis Latimer House Museum. All right. And you can go to his website, louislatimerhouse.org, to find out more information about this individual. All right, let's do at least two more, and that will be it for tonight, and I'll go over the rest tomorrow. All right, let's see. So the next person is Marie, got a long name, y'all, Van Britton. Here it is right here, Brown. Okay. Let me go down to a reputable source. Wikipedia is not a reputable source 100%, okay? So I can't use them. Let's go to Princeton. Okay. So this lady here, Mrs. Brown, she invented the home security system, okay? She died in 1999. She was born in Queens, New York on October the 22nd, 1922. And she lived there until her death on February the 2nd, 1999 at age 76. All right. Brown was a 43-year-old African-American nurse who worked long, late hours before returning home to Jamaica, Queens in New York City. Her husband, Albert Brown, an electronics technician, was away many nights. Crime in their neighborhood was high, and police was often slow to respond to emergency calls. So to combat the high crime rates in Queens, Marie decided to take action. So she enlisted her husband, electrical expertise. She conceived a contraption that could be affixed to the front door. It would offer 4 peepholes, and through these, a motorized video camera on the inside could view visitors of different heights as the occupants toggle the camera up and down. The camera was connected to a television monitor inside, a microphone on the outside of the door, and a speaker inside allowed an occupant to interrogate a visitor, while an alarm could alert police via radio. Then closed circuit television, invented during World War II for military use, was not widespread in the 1960s, and the Browns proposed using the technology to create the first modern home security system. They filed a patent for their device in 1966, citing Marie as lead inventor. It was approved 3 years later. The equipment is not in production, the New York Times reported, but the Browns hope to interest manufacturers and home builders. The Browns' 1969 patent plan for an elaborate home security system suggests safety and relaxation can go hand in hand. All right. Let's see what else they got down here. Oh, she never saw her vision, realized she died at age 76. Okay. But anyway, she was the inventor of the home security system, y'all. You can find out more information on her yourself by going to cst.princeton.edu, okay, /people/Marie Van Britton Brown. And you can read the rest of this information amongst other things regarding her. All right. Let's go to Google and type in the next person. The next person is Otis Boykin. So Otis Boykin was an inventor. Let's see where we're gonna go to. I want to go to here. Okay. So let's see. He did, let's see. His innovations to electronic resistors enabled the development of many of the devices we use today. Found in everything from televisions to smartphones, variations of Boykin's resistor designs enable the precise regulations of electrical current within a circuit. Goodness, these people are smart, y'all. He was born on August the 29th in 1920 in Dallas, Texas. Wow. He pursued his graduate education at the Illinois Institute of Technology in 1946. He said, well, he had to end his studies in 1947 because he could no longer afford the tuition, but his temporary setback only motivated him to work harder on his own inventions. He focused primarily on resistors, technology that reduces the flow of electricity to allow the safe operations of an electronic device. Wow. He got his first patent for his wire precision resistor in 1959. He earned another patent in 1961 for an electrical resistor that was uniquely inexpensive and simple to make. Okay. He earned over a total of 12 U.S. patents relating to resistors and similar electronic components. He also improved the pacemaker. In 1964, he created a control unit for pacemakers, small devices that help regulate the heartbeat by administering electric stimulation. Wow. Bet you guys didn't know this, huh? So all these people walk around with this pacemaker. You need to thank this guy right here for making it possible. All right. And this guy name again is Otis Boykin. And you can go to invent.org/blog/inventors/Otis Boykin electrical resistor and pacemaker. If you can't remember anything, remember that he made the pacemaker better. Okay? Point blank. One more is Lonnie Johnson. Then we're going to stop with that one, okay? Because as you can tell, I'm getting tired. That's why I'm making all these little bloopers. And I need to eat. Okay, so let's see. Lonnie Johnson. So Lonnie, let's see what he did here. Oh, this is the dude that made the Nerf gun, huh? All right. So let's go to the same site. Invent.org/inductees/Lonnie Johnson. Okay, so he was born October 6, 1949. He is still alive today. He is an engineer, an entrepreneur. He is the inventor of the Super Soaker, y'all. It has generated over $1 billion in sales over its lifetime. This is good. His long-time research focuses on energy technology, and his well-known toy resulted from his work on an environmentally friendly heat pump. He was trained as a nuclear engineer, smart. He also worked as a research engineer at Oak Ridge National Laboratories, then joined the U.S. Air Force, heading the Space Nuclear Power Safety Section at the Air Force Weapons Laboratory. Y'all, go look him up and read all this stuff about him. This is fascinating. He formed his own engineering firm and licensed his most famous invention, the Super Soaker. And that was in 1989. Damn, this is good. His current work includes a new generation of rechargeable battery technology and also the Johnson Thermal Electrical Converter, which efficiently converts waste heat to electrical energy and can be run in reverse as a cooling device. Goodness. He holds more than 100 U.S. patents and president and founder of Johnson Research and Development Company, International Company, which is an Atlanta-based company that has spun off additional companies, including Johnson Energy Storage and JTEC Energy Incorporated. He has been awarded the Air Force Achievement Medal and the Air Force Commendation Medal on 2 occasions and has received multiple awards from NASA. Wow. Again, guys, Lonnie Johnson, the inventor of the Super Soaker. Okay. So that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Tomorrow I'll give you the other people, the other Black inventors that I have on my list. We'll go over those tomorrow. All right. Yeah, I'm so tired. Okay, I guess you can hear it in my voice. That's why I was making some bloopers. You have to excuse the bloopers that I made tonight with saying some of this stuff. But, I'll be busy all day. I'll be doing so much. And y'all, it's a hard job coming up here doing these lives. Y'all just don't know. Especially when you're talking about real things, okay? It's not an easy thing, all right? I actually had to sit down today while I was doing my son's schoolwork and look up this stuff to present to you guys tonight and everything. But I hope you did learn some things. I hope you I hope you go look up some of this information yourself so you can find out all about these Black inventors. There are a lot, and to see how much stuff that Black people did, to make this world what it is today. Because not only do we use some of these inventions here in the USA, they use them all over the world. All right. And I also hope you learned a little bit more about the Donner Party and what they endured back in 1846. Go look up that information more in depth so you can learn more about them. Like I said, in school, I was never taught this. I never even heard of the party until I was, doing some work for my son, actually getting his school work ready for that day. I'm actually going to teach him about it as well and go from there. But anyway, guys, I'll be back tomorrow night between 6:30 and 7. I'm going to try to get in a little bit earlier tomorrow. I'm going to leave out a little bit earlier. I left out earlier today, but I'm going to leave out a little bit earlier tomorrow because like today, it wasn't real super early, but I did leave out I think it was 1. So tomorrow I'm going to try to leave out a little bit earlier so I can stop earlier so I can come in here and do these lives a little bit earlier than I did tonight. Because here on the West Coast, it's 9:51 p.m. All right. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you again for tuning in to Shay's Tube. Don't forget to thumbs this video up. Also to subscribe to the channel and also to hit that notification bell to be notified of any upcoming videos. Check out my Dollar Tree videos, guys. Thumbs those videos up. Check out my walkthrough as well, and check out my other lives, all right? Like the one I did last night and the night before. All right. Other than that, guys, I'm getting ready to go. Let me go through this little roll call. Thank you to Adam Fears for coming in, dropping by. Thank you, Lord, for dropping by. Thank you to everybody who was in the bushes. And thank you to everybody who will watch this in the replay. Again, y'all, don't forget the thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And leave a comment if you watch this in replay. And hit that bell notification. Until tomorrow, guys, you guys have a great night. Be blessed. And I'll talk to you tomorrow in my next live. Take care. Peace out. And good night.